inspire you to step up. Ebony Magazine, the late John H. Johnson, who started that with a $500 loan from his mother, he said something in his book called Making It Against All Odds. There's no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. And I suggest to you,
if you clicked on this video, you're already ahead of the majority because you're looking for growth. Welcome to Epic Motivation. Let's get started.
One, work on yourself. To me, I think there are three pillars of what's required in order to carve out your place in this global economy. There are many steps, but there are three that I think that's indispensable. One is working on your mind. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The second is having a mindset and willing to discipline yourself, make the sacrifice to engage in ongoing self-study for self-growth and development, developing your communication skills. I can hear Mr. Washington now say, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nelson Mandela said, if you speak from your mind, you speak in a language that a man can understand. But when you speak from your heart, you speak in his language. And so my goal in teaching people how to create mass appeal, how to change lives, that you have to change yourself. It starts with you. And then you begin to see from your experience how you can begin to impact and influence others and be a voice of change. And that ability really will allow you to carve out a place for yourself in the marketplace. And the methods and the techniques, the simplicity of how you language what you say. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to take the complicated and make it simple. When you are creating change and mass appeal, keeping it simple, but being the message that you bring and loving it and standing in your power and realize that you're here for a reason. I believe to make a difference. I believe to do great work. I believe to live a life, as Jim Rohn said, when you live your life, he said, your life can be either an example or it's a warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do and what's possible. 85% of them reach their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. Now, to me, that was big because I was in special education. I was labeled educable, mentally retarded. So I said, whoa, that means I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. That if I have a winner's attitude, that I've got a shot, that I could make it, that I don't have to live a life of being average. I wanted to live a life of meaning, of purpose. Being adopted, I wanted to do something for my mother. And so by listening to motivational messages and reading on a regular basis, it really taught me the value of using your time to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to really restructure your belief system for what was possible for you. It really expanded my vision of myself. And so to me, that's what it means about mass appeal, because I was working on myself. Then I started sharing it with others, and I noticed a difference in them. And I shared with them the things that I was doing because they saw the difference in me. And it's been said that a career is something you love so much you do it for nothing. So as I talked with and shared with my friends what I was doing and what was possible for them, I eventually evolved into this life of where I am. And as a result, I carved out a market for myself. And because this is my passion, this is what I've spent the majority of my life doing, I've developed a level of expertise, a level of strength and power and reputation in this area that created a demand for myself. To me, one of the most important things and the first step in changing lives is to have a program for yourself. When I started on this path, that was what my goal was to change me, given my circumstances. I think that, psychologists say that we create a mental blueprint between the ages of 1 and 5, that between that time, we determine what's available for us and what's not available for us. And so, given my circumstances, being born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, I became interested in a path of developing myself. I remember shining the shoes of Mr. Sidursky, this man that my mother worked for, very wealthy on Miami Beach. She cleaned his home and she cooked for the family and kept the children. And he listened to motivational messages unbeknownst to me. That was programming my mind, and it created a thirst within me to get on this path. I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, who said, "You don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are." And so to me, reading became an out. It became a tool that I used to develop myself. And not just reading for enjoyment, but reading for personal growth, reading to look at those things that I read and to apply them in my lives. And I would read sometimes at night from 60, 100 pages a night, sometimes a whole book. And then I would underline the book and I would think about them, I would memorize them, and then I would apply them. I would try them out.
All of us have seen our destiny at some point in time, and we decided not to listen. We decided to ignore it and say, no, that's not for me. And that's what causes many of us to give up on our volcano. The experiences and the challenges, the defeats, the disappointments, and the failures of life. Then we decide to sell out on our true potential, sell out on living our dreams, feeling that we're not good enough, not wanting to make any mistakes, particularly if you're raised with a great deal of criticism. So you've got to be willing to prepare yourself and do the best you can. Take your best shot and let the chips fall where they may. And believe that everything is going to be all right. Take that leap of faith. Trust yourself and know within yourself that everything's going to be all right. But aren't there some guarantees you can give us, Les? Yes. What is that? You're going to die. Excuse me? You're going to die. In case you didn't understand that, you can't get out of life alive. So I'm saying to you, you got 6 months to live. Live your life now. Live your dreams now. Live your life now. Live your dreams now. Start acting like this is your last day on the planet. This is the only life that I have, and that is my volcano. And I'm going to take the leap of faith. I'm going to jump in it, and I'm going to handle it because I know the universe will never give me anything I don't have the capacity to handle. See, I say to you that you've got the power within you to handle any kind of volcano in your life, regardless of how it shows up, regardless of any kind of challenge that you might have in your life. I say to you, you got that in you right now. Where will it come from? Don't worry. If you trust yourself, it will come to you at the right time in which you need it.
For 15 years before I made the decision that I was going to stand up and be a professional speaker, for 15 years, I allowed fear to keep me silent. One, I thought that I would not be good enough. I have no college training. I never worked for any major corporation. I mean, there's some things I feel strongly about, but why would anybody would gather in an auditorium to listen to me? I mean, I'm nobody. And that kind of thinking fed the fear of failure, fed the fear of disappointment, fed the fear that I wasn't good enough, fed that fear of they're not going to like me, I won't be accepted, I'm not qualified. All of those things paralyzed me and kept my lips sealed. There are times that the audience will not like you. You're not going to get every audience. I've experienced that. How'd you feel afterwards, Les? I felt badly. And I looked at myself, I listened to the tape, I went back to the drawing board and say, what did I do wrong? What is it that I can do to improve myself? And I worked on it. I've been intimidated by other speakers. I've been on programs where the speaker before me was so good and got such an incredible response from the audience, a standing ovation. I said, oh my God, I really don't want to come up behind that speaker. I had a program I'll never forget. A young man had to speak before me, and he was so powerful. And I was the guest speaker, but he was a young kid that had been invited to speak there at this special program honoring Dr. Martin Luther King. And he did the I Have a Dream speech. And I've heard a lot of people try to do it, but on that day, he did that speech with the power, with the magic, and mesmerized the audience to such an extent. When the pandemonium died down, everybody was walking out and they said, Les Brown is supposed to speak. And I pretended to have an attitude. I said, don't worry about it, and walked out. I was relieved. I said, oh God, thank you. I couldn't wait to get into my car. I mean, that's going to happen. They're going to be speakers better than you. Learn from them. He and I became friends, and I brought him on other programs, and I learned from him, a young man much younger than I am. There are times when you're not going to be able to connect with the audience, that you're going to be off. Your memory will fail you. You're going to do some things that will embarrass you. I spoke at the National Speakers Association and stepped forward and called Cavett Roberts Dick Cavett. And I didn't even realize it at the time until the second time that I did it to make a point, incorporating a name in my presentation, and I had to keep going. I could not back up. And later people talked about me and made jokes about it, and I was embarrassed. I was hurt, and I came back. That's going to happen to you. You're going to make some mistakes. But you know, my good friend Ed Foreman has something that he anchors his life on, I think all of us can learn from. He said, anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. And I've used it so much, I've just taken it for myself. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing right if you know how to do it right. But even if you don't know how to do it right, it's worth doing badly again and again and again until you get it right. So this fear of making a mistake, you're going to make some mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. This fear of they're not going to like me. That's right. There's some people that aren't going to like you. There are people that are going to talk about you, that are going to criticize you. There's some speeches that you are going to give, and as you listen to that later, say, oh my goodness, I should have said this and I should have said that, or why did I say that, or why did I not include this story or that statistic, or why did I get the names confused? All of those things are going to happen. Why? Because we're human. We're human. Every time I speak, I experience that fear. I get it off in a variety of ways. Part of it is I listen to tapes before I go in to speak. Part of it is I prepare myself to know that subject like the back of my hand. Part of it is I go out and I talk to the audience and I shake people's hands and I engage in small conversation to relax myself. Part of it is I visualize and I see myself successfully giving the speech and receiving a standing ovation and people loving me and accepting me and embracing me, and see myself confidently doing what it is that I want to do with that audience. The more you do it, the stronger you will become, and that fear will drive you as it drives me. I'm nervous all the time. I can't sit down and relax. I sometimes go to a banquet table and can't eat because I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. I never ever get so relaxed that I don't experience the nervousness. So I'm saying to you, don't worry about the fear. You can handle it.
You're God's miracle child. I talked to a man who's going through our training. When he was a baby, he fell. He got through the rails where they were living in an apartment from the 3rd floor. And doctors said he was going to die. He didn't have long to be here. And his mother, rather than just let him be on life support, gathered him up and said, I want to take my baby home. And he's still here, motivating people. He couldn't hear because of the injuries. Blind, couldn't talk, fell 3 stories. And now he said, I want people to know they're a miracle because I'm a miracle. He went through some stuff. Boy, when he told that story last night, you could hear a pin drop as I was working with him on his story. He said, I've been searching for you, Mr. Brown, for a long time, for 10 years. I've been searching for you to have this moment that we're having right now, to be able to talk to you through my computer. It finally happened. I've been looking forward to this moment, sir. I said, sir, I feel honored be in your presence. You are God's miracle child. You fell 3 stories as a baby with the power of prayer and a mother's love. Give me my child. You determine the diagnosis, but God determines the prognosis. Give me my child. Gathered him up, disconnected those tubes, and carried a miracle out into the parking lot to get in the car to take home. Look at God. You've had some experiences. You've had some experiences that God has done for you, through you, as you, and you knew it was not you. I give him the praise. I give him the credit. Some of you, this is a breakthrough moment as you're listening to me right now. It's a breakthrough moment. You can hear me in your heart. It's stirring something up now. Now you know this is not it for you. You know when you look at me, when you look at my eyes, you know that you got to be hungry. That hunger brings out a fierceness in you that refuses to be denied, that it's possible, that it's necessary, that it's you, that you take personal responsibility for where you are. And it's hard, and you can do hard. You can do hard.
I want you to think about the goals that you want to achieve, and I really want to challenge you to make up your mind that you're going to make that happen for yourself. And I hope that it's some goal that really resonates with who you are. When I was a little boy, my goal was to just buy groceries for our family. My mother worked on Miami Beach. She was a domestic worker. And my goal was to really be able to go to the grocery store and purchase groceries ourselves. The families knew that my mother had adopted 7 children. And so they said, Mamie, whatever food is left over after we eat, you can take that home to the children. They were very kind, very, very considerate people. My mother, when she worked on Miami Beach, the people were very kind. I was appreciative of their generosity. But as a little boy, I said, Mama, one day, when I become a big boy, I'm going to be able to buy groceries for us. My goal as a little boy was to buy clothes for my brothers and sisters. We wore the hand-me-down clothes of the children that Mama babysat for when she went over in Miami Beach. And if the clothes were too small, she would let them out. And if they were too large, Mama could sew and take them up. And I'll never forget David. His father was very wealthy. Mama worked for him, but David was my buddy. His father gave him 2 gifts for his birthday. Gave him a brand new boat, but he also gave him some motivational tapes. Earl Nightingale, I'll never forget. So he said, David, man, let me tell you something. When I die, you're going to get everything. I want you to listen to these tapes. And when his father left the room, David threw those tapes in the wastebasket. I said, David, can I have those tapes? He said, yes. I said, man, your father said, if you listen to these, you can get more and do more than what he's done. He said, hey, look, I'm going to get everything anyhow. Go ahead, take them. I told my children, I'm not leaving them anything. If I had a quarter and thought I was going to die, I'll swallow it. It's not what you leave for your children, it's what you leave in them. I look at you, I say, you have greatness within you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. No one could have convinced me that I would be doing what I'm doing right now. You know, the easiest thing I do every year is go into a sales organization and dramatically increase their sales, or go into a prison and enable prisoners to see themselves differently and teach them the methods and techniques of how to plug into the system, or motivate young people to begin to see how they can have a vision of themselves in the future and fit. That's the easiest thing I do, or train a speaker to help them to leverage their experience as a speaker and say, look, speaking is a projection of who you are, not who you think you ought to be, and come with power from a platform. That's the easiest thing I've ever done. Let me share with you the most difficult thing I've ever done. The most difficult thing I've ever done was to believe that I can do what I'm now doing. No one could have convinced me, just given my circumstances. I earn millions of dollars every year. No one could have convinced me. If both my parents came up here right now, I would not know either one. No one could have convinced me, being labeled educable, mental retarded, born in an abandoned building on the floor in Liberty City, poor section of Miami, Florida, failing twice in school, no college training, never worked for a major corporation. I did not know I can do what I'm doing right now. I'll never forget Mike Williams, my mentor. I think a lot of people fail in life because of the fact that they need some mentoring, they need some coaching. See, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And here's something I realized. Sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in. I kept holding on to my mother saying, you're special, Leslie, when they said you're educable, mentally retarded. Mama didn't know what that meant. She only had a 3rd grade education. So she said, he'll be all right, he'll be fine. But she said, you're special, baby. You are special. And they kept saying that over and over again. Faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing. As you think about your goals and your dream, it's possible together. See, most people never achieve their goals because most people suffer from possibility blindness. They look around trying to think about the things that they don't have. Robert Roots, young man who wrote a book about success principles of the 3 little pigs, he said, it's not what you don't have, is what you think you need that keeps you from being successful or happy in life. It's not what you don't have. See, I was focused on what I didn't have. Don't have a college degree, don't have any credentials, never worked for a major corporation. I was focused on the negative things. I said, negative things are the things that you see when you're not focused on your goal. What do you come with?
Greatness is built one step at a time. Keep moving forward. We appreciate you watching our video to the end. Creating these videos takes a lot of passion and dedication, and your support makes it all worthwhile. If this video inspired you, make sure to subscribe and stay on this journey with us. Your encouragement helps us continue delivering top quality videos just for you. Together, let's make life epic.